Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. I'm going to talk about Tether today. I feel dirty when I talk about it. It's a manipulation tool. It's a derivative support mechanism for the rigging of the price of cryptocurrencies. It's run by very bad people. All the bad things, the worst of the worst, can be embodied in Tether. And if you don't believe me, let's take a little walk down Tether Lane. See, the cryptos are doing okay. Bitcoin price is 8,646 with volume of 24 billion. It's a lot of volume, but nothing compared to our friends over at Tether. Let's look at Tether. Market cap 3 billion, volume 23 billion in the last 24 hours. How can anybody support something like that? Is any of that trading real trading? Or is it bots trading back and forth like they do on the comics and the LBMA? It's complete. Tether is a derivative. It's not backed by anything. They can say it's backed by everything. That's not backed by anything. And they can be taken out instantly by the government. How do you know that? Because they can't hold US dollars and pretend that the US government doesn't exist. And they're not subject to US government sanctions or rules or shutting them down, which they have been doing. It's a click of a mouse for Jerome Powell to shut down Tether, because they'll just take all their money. All the supposed money that they have. They don't have it, obviously. But yeah, it's not a good thing. It is a horrible thing for cryptocurrency. And it will cause havoc. I don't know if it'll go up, down, or sideways, though. That's the thing. A lot of people saying, well, if Tether goes down, the whole cryptosphere implodes. Well, if you think about it, what would people do if they're trying to get out of Tether? They would go on their exchanges. Of course, Tether is ridiculous. It's not backed by one-to-one with the dollar, but it's also not held one-to-one in exchanges, obviously, with $23 billion of Tether trading in the last 24 hours. When it's only got a $3 billion market cap. I mean, come on, people, wake up. So what are they going to do? They're going to sell their Tether and get into something real, like Bitcoin. No, they're not going to sell it for US dollars. If you're going to get out of Tether, you're going to get into Bitcoin or Litecoin or another cryptocurrency. So you're going to have massive volumes going into a cryptocurrency and out of Tether. But then you got the manipulation factor. And let's show Tether is just, it's so ridiculous what has gone on in the last couple weeks. I mean, look at the off the charts volume, off the charts, absolutely. This reminds me of when China was, going crazy with their Chinese exchanges, and the government came and shut them down. What happened? Price of Bitcoin zoomed up. Everybody's like, "Oh my God! If that volume goes away, Bitcoin will crash." The exact opposite happened. But look at the volume in the last, since Tether was having issues and problems and people were calling them out, let's say since October. Look at that volume spike. And that is just outrageous. Outrageous. Pure fraud. Pure fraud. And look at the markets. There's some bizarre B2BX in the last 24 hours traded $572 billion worth of Tether, supposedly. How does CoinMarketCap get away with even posting these exchanges? Now, they do not count this in the volume. See, the asterisk is right there. But still, why is it even there? This is an Estonia exchange. And all these exchanges, it's complete fraud in the crypto exchanges. Get your cryptos off the exchanges or you will lose everything in cryptos. I mean it. Do it now. I know you've been hearing it a long time, but the amazing thing, you want to see an amazing stat? This is an article from January. Which cryptos does Tether hardware wallet support? But they had, interesting, here's a poll they did Which is amazing because it shows where people keep their coins. 35% of people keep their coins in mobile wallets on their phone. That makes sense. 16% keep them in a ledger, good hardware wallet. 25% of the people keep their cryptos in an exchange. Insane. Those are all gone. They will lose everything. 25% of the people, at least of this poll, 25% keep them on an exchange. Still, after all the warnings, it is crazy. And these exchanges, look at these exchanges. The B2BX from Estonia. And there's so many caveats. They say, hey, this is unregulated. You're on your own. We're going to make up any freaking number we want to make up. Now let's talk about Tether again. Remember, here's an article from Bloomberg. Bitcoin rigging criminal probe focused on tie to Tether. And we know the New York District Attorney's going after Tether. Everybody's going after Tether because it's complete fraud. But they don't want to pull the plug yet. These people are ending up in jail. And the associated companies and cryptos will not fare well, in my opinion. And there's a lot. This is deep state stuff here. This is not your run-of-the-mill. Hey, this is just a couple guys trying to get cryptocurrency out of the hands of the government, and the government's going out. No, this is pure deep state manipulation. And we all know the battle's going on behind the scenes at the deep state. But this is back in November. DOJ investigating whether Tether was used to prop up Bitcoin. The U.S. case part of a broader review of possible coin manipulation. Now, did they manipulate? Were they creating Tether to buy Bitcoin? Completely against what they're supposed to be doing, correct? So the New York Attorney General goes after them and says, hey, no more doing anything. We're going to bust you. I want all this documentation. And what happened? They got to stay, meaning they don't have to do anything yet. But it's really interesting. I was reading this article on Cointelegraph. Bitfinex and Tether obtained stay of demands from New York Supreme Court. Cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex and its affiliated stablecoin user Tether has been granted its stay of demands, which it applied for yesterday, according to a blog published on May 22nd. Per the Post, Justice Joel Cohen of the New York Supreme Court ruled to grant the companies their motion for an immediate stay of the document demands. The court thus only requires the parties to produce documents and information related to whether there is personal jurisdiction over the companies in New York. So they're claiming, obviously Bitfinex and Tether say, hey, we're not in New York jurisdiction, so you can't bust us. Who are you to bust us, right? Yesterday's motion, the law firm representing the two companies specifically argued that the New York Attorney General has neither personnel or subject matter jurisdiction, and that the NYSE cannot be appealed to because Bitfinex and Tether are neither operated out of New York nor harm investors in that state. That is wrong, the harm of the investors in the state. A lot of people out of New York invest in Tether, and that has been proven. The court proceedings against Bitfinex and Tether were initiated at the end of April. The court proceedings about the $850 that basically the U.S. Treasury said, okay, we're going to confiscate that $850 million. Just as they're not trying to shut them down yet, but they will. And it's a click of a mouse for Jerome Powell to confiscate all of Tether's holdings. All they have to do is contact every bank, every financial institution that Tether deals with, Bitfinex deals with, and shut them down. It's a click of a mouse. And it's very easy to do. So if you think Tether is safe, you got another thing coming. But here's the most damning thing that they said. Listen to this. Cointelegraph reported that the newly released court filings, David Miller, an attorney for Bitfinex, revealed that Tether invested some of Tether's reserves in Bitcoin. Tether created them out of thin air and invested them in Bitcoin. What does this probe, what is it into? DOJ investigating whether Tether was used to prop up Bitcoin. There you go. They just admitted it. But I would say, hey, the manipulation goes up and down with Tether. So I would say, looking at Cliff High's data, what was it, 1288? He said Bitcoin was going to run to 1288 and ran all the way to 20,000 in 2017. It was Tether. It was Tether manipulating the markets up to 20. And that was the worst thing that could happen to cryptos. The worst thing is for it to run to 20, because if it got all the weak hands in, and then all the probably people within Tether said, okay, now we're going to crash it and start the bear market. And then it goes down, then they create more Tether and more Tether and more Tether, which they're doing right now. Check out the Tether right here. The amount of Tether created. Look at the blue line. It is just spiking now. Another $1 billion worth of Tether created out of thin air. Right after they got their stay. These people are running for the hills. It is insane. And they're all hooked together. Block One, Bitfinex, Binance, Tether. These are bad, 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 bad people. All right, that's enough of my vent about it. I hate doing analysis on Tether. I mean, it's so obvious. It's so obvious what's going on. My friends over at Crypto Viewing did a remote viewing of Tether, and they really didn't understand what they viewed, in my opinion. But it's cool, and I got it. Yeah, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, big stuff with the deep state and the takedown of the deep state. So hang on tight in cryptos. I don't know what's going to happen to the price. If you look at what happened with the Chinese exchanges, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, if the Chinese volume goes away, then Bitcoin's going to crash." And that's when Bitcoin went from 2,000 to 20,000 after they closed the Chinese exchanges. So that's the thing about the price of all cryptos right now is it's determined by derivatives on the derivative exchanges, the GDAX and Kraken, Gemini, all the crazy exchanges in Asia. Those are all derivative trades. Nobody has the coins. How do you win this game? You pull your coins off the exchanges. You get them in your own possession. You take the coins away. They'll end up with 1 or 2% of the coins that they claim to be trading. And then the government's going to come in. The government's coming in. Absolutely 100%. What's it called? FATF. FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. That's what I'll be talking about on my Patreon channel this afternoon. Huge things coming in June, a couple days away. That should do very, very well for cryptos, but might crash a lot of the exchanges. So if you want that info, go to Road to Ruta crypto or Patreon channel and join. I just started up, so join us. It's $10 a month, and I'm going to get a lot of the juicy material. I'm trying to move out of YouTube, which has defunded us, and moving into Patreon. Could talk about a lot more stuff about deep state stuff too. So check it out. They might even defund this video, so I'm going to post this video on the Patreon as well. And I'll be posting that later today at some point. Also, go to roadtoruta.com, and you can join there as well, the private road membership, and that gets you all the Patreon stuff, plus more and more and more. And a Veritasium token, Veritasium. I'm telling you, Veritasium is the sleeping giant. The sleeping giant. Reggie Middleton is making all the right moves, working well with the regulators, helping the regulators figure out what is a security and what's not a security. And I think it's going to work out very well for investors in Reggie Middleton and his company, Veritasium. It's a different kind of crypto. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a token used. It's software, really. And yeah, I think it's going a long way to implement peer-to-peer transactions on exchanges and in the capital market, which is something we're going to need. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Give me a like and subscribe. Yes, still subscribe. I'm still going to be posting on YouTube. Just most of the content is moving over to Patreon. See you guys later.